So, Masters, today we're going to discuss the last chapter of the book Immortal Talks from the book 1. So, this is a very interesting chapter. I really enjoyed while reading it. So, let us discuss on this chapter and see what we could understand from this chapter. So, in the previous chapter, we have discussed about how Hanumanji tried to explain to us this very intricate but yet the ever-knowing truth. The only truth that exists is that a soul is the one who is experiencing this external reality, and we are not the body, we are not the mind. So this one sentence is very intense, that to understand that this physical body, I am not that body, neither do I own the memories or the things that are done through this body, because it's just the soul that is going through that experience through this physical body and mind. And how Hanumanji talked about the concept of identity at the soul level. We might have different identities with respect to our caste, creed, our gender, our age, with respect to the language that we speak, the place that we are in, or the country that we are in, or the professions that we indulge ourselves in, the degrees that we have studied. But at the level of soul, the only identity a soul carries is the concept of with respect to karma and desire. I think these two are the only things that define or that give an identity to a soul. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. You might be going through different reincarnations, you might be going through different bodies, different minds, experiencing things in your own way. So that is not your identity. And in the last chapter, Hanumanji showed us that how detaching, how one can help themselves to free from this cycle of birth and death, and also this concept of karma by the one thing that is called as detachment from everything that you think that you own or you see yourself with respect to this body and mind. So this is a very intense topic, and the whole Bhagavad Gita or whatever sacred scriptures that you talk about revolves around this one topic. And Hanumanji showed us that how Urvi could detach herself from her physical body, enter into another body, and go through that experience of death. I think that's the only reality that we should understand, that no matter what profession are you, how rich are you, how many degrees that you own, the one reality that everyone has to face is to go through that experience of death. And Hanumanji talked about the concept of death and how easy it is and how one should see death and how one can overcome the concept or the fear with respect to death in the last chapter. So this chapter that we are going to discuss today is the last chapter of this book, Immortal Talks, from the book 1. There's another book, which is a book 2 of Immortal Talks. So let's see if we can do that. But I'm very happy that I could finish this book 1 of Immortal Talks, and it's going to end with a bang. So I'm really looking forward to tell you this story of the last chapter. It's more like, we see this external reality with respect to our physical body and our sense organs. But how an enlightened master sees the reality, and we, without that enlightened eye, we don't, we feel that we are safe and secured in our house or in our room with our own jobs, our own identities, our likes and dislikes, whatever that we relate ourselves to, whether be it's I like this thing, I don't like this thing, the way that you talk to people, the way that your emotions come out of it, how do you react to things. So when I read this last chapter, it was little intriguing. My job was open, like, oh my God, so much happens with us. But it's really an interesting thing to know, to be aware of this knowledge, that how much are we influenced by these unknown forces that are surrounding us, and how important it is that for us to be connected with our own self. I think this whole chapter talks about it, and Hanumanji has given different parables, different examples, and different methodologies for us to understand that this is how the actual reality works. So this chapter really breaks up all the ideas, belief systems, or my things that about even your own identity itself. Do I really think the way that I'm thinking, or someone is influencing me? So all these things are challenged in this chapter. So let us go into this chapter, and this chapter is named as Cursed Souls. So let me share the PPT. So this, the final chapter from this book, the last chapter is called as the Cursed Souls. And they are called as Suras and Asuras. So we'll learn more about them as we go further. So from the, by ending the previous chapter, right now, what happens is that after Urmi is saved from the, what do you say, experience of losing her physical body, where she enters into another body and experiences the death, she finally comes back to her original body, and everything goes smoothly after that. Now, after that, the Matangs, they start to get on with their regular routine work, and the days were passing. As days were passing, each one of the Matang who is there in that Matang community, at one point or the other, came face to face or came in interaction with Hanumanji in their own way. And Hanumanji started to impart knowledge with respect to their level of understanding or their soul evolution. So in that way, in the next few days, just like how Baba met Hanumanji, or how Urva met Hanumanji, or how Urmi met Hanumanji, rest of the members of Matang community also meet Hanumanji in different circumstances. But everyone wants to tell to everyone that they have met Hanumanji, but even though they try to tell, the other person does not understand. So the communication there is broken. So until Hanumanji has met the last person in the Matang tribe, no one could, the communication in the tribe doesn't happen that Hanumanji has arrived. So finally, it was Basant, who is the uncle of Urva, who comes up and says that Hanumanji has finally arrived, and everyone could perceive that information. Now everyone feels very joyous, and everyone understood that Hanumanji was waiting for the right time so that he could meet everyone, and then everyone could know that Hanumanji's arrived. So for that right time, it was supposed to happen, so that till that point, no one discussed about it. So finally, everyone was elated. It's been 41 years. Hanumanji has visited their community, and everyone was sharing their own experiences, and it was going on very nicely. Now, it is evident that this time when Hanumanji is going to come, as we discussed in the first chapter, that a Charan ceremony is going to happen. It's more like a ceremony where the office is handed over to the next successor. So here Baba, who has been the head of Matang tribe for so many years, now he has reached to a point where his physical body is no more supporting. He has aged. Now he has to give that office of taking care of this Matang community duties and rest of all those things to a person, eligible person, who is Urva. So that transfer of authority or the transfer of position is celebrated in a form of a Charan ceremony. So they were preparing for the ceremony because they know that it's the 41th year and Hanumanji is going to come. So they don't know when he's going to come, but they're ready for it. So finally, the Charan ceremony has the whole operations have been nicely taken. So at the midnight, the next day is going to be the Charan ceremony. So the before day, the midnight, having ensured that everyone else in the community has gone to sleep, only Baba's wife, Urva, and Urmi, who's gonna be the wife of Urva. They're gonna get married soon, and they're gonna be the king and like the queen of the Mahatang tribe. So only these 4 people are supposed to be attending some late rite rituals. No other person should be there in that vicinity. No other person from the Matang tribe should be there in that venue at that particular time where they are supposed to do this late night ritual. So Baba's wife, Urva and Urmi, 4 of them go to the ground or the place or the venue where the Charan ceremony is going to happen the next day. So the venue was more like a circular ground like place. and there were black and white stones placed alternatively on the periphery of the ground. And there are about 164 lamps that were placed all around the circle of the ground. Now, the midnight ritual that Baba's wife, Urva and Urmi were supposed to do is that they have to fill this all 164 lamps with a special oil. The oil is very special because the composition of which is kept as a secret from the rest of the Matang community. Only Baba and Baba's wife knew what the contents are. No one knew what the oil is made up of. Even Urva and Urmi also don't know. Later, they are going to tell what the contents are. So they would pass this secret only to Urva and Urmi, who are going to be the head of the Matang tribe after the Charan ceremony tomorrow. So suddenly, when they were trying to fill the oil in the lamps, in the diyas, Baba takes a pause and he asks Urva that someone is coming towards the venue. Just go and see that who is coming, and because at this point of time, no one should come to this venue. So go and stop that person immediately. Run. That's what Baba says to Urva. So Urva immediately on Baba's command, he just starts running, and it's very pitch black in the night, and that's in the forest. So it's really dark. And he starts running towards the periphery of the venue, only to see that it was his uncle, Basant, who was approaching the venue. Then immediately Urva says to his uncle Basant that, "Uncle, what are you doing here? You know that you are not supposed to come to this venue. And Charan ceremony is tomorrow. So what are you doing right now?" So immediately Basant, as if, when a thief meets a policeman, how, agitated the person is, how anxious the person becomes. So that's how the Basant, his uncle, was behaving. And he says that since I am the first person or the first host to enter into the ceremony, I thought I can just come. So I thought I'll just take a walk and look into what is happening. It's okay, no problem. I'll just go back, and I don't want to intrude your ritual or whatever you're doing. And he says that sentence and he just walks away. Now Urva comes back and he starts filling the lamps with the oil. With the oil, and suddenly Baba asks Urva that who was it, who used that person who's come at this point of time in the night. Then Urva says that it was no one, Baba, it was only Uncle Basant. And then after saying that, Baba didn't say anything. He hears that it was Uncle Basant, and Baba, he doesn't try to speak anything else. He starts pouring oil into those lamps. Then again, Urva himself, he suddenly starts speaking, saying that I'm not sure, Baba, that why uncle came at this point of time, even though he knows that no one is supposed to come here, because it's a ritual that has been running in the Matang tribe from generations. Everyone know that no one was supposed to go at that point of time in the night. But I feel that Urva says that I feel something strange about him. It was as if he said that, he was taking a walk outside to reduce his anxiety and, all those things. But which means that he's completely in his senses. I thought he was sleepwalking or something, but it was not. He was not sleepwalking. He was very much in his senses, that he knew that he was walking towards this venue. So what was it? I really don't know what his intentions are or what his thought process is. I'm really confused here. Something like that. Urva speaks to Baba. Then Baba asks Urva one question, that are you sure that he was Basant? Are you sure that he was your uncle? Then Urva says that I'm very sure, Baba. It's even though it's night, I know he's my uncle. I've grown with him. I know his posture. I know his words. I know how does he look. I have seen his face very, very clearly. It was my uncle. Then Baba did not respond to any of those, did not give any answer to what Urva has told. In fact, here the author beautifully writes one sentence saying that Baba responded with silence, an enlightening silence. I think this is a beautiful sentence. Sometimes it's very important or essential for us also to be in the mode of silence even though we know that the other person is not getting the essence, or is not recognizing that something is happening which is not right, or which is not good, or which is not the way that it's supposed to happen. So when we realize that other person is not in a state of mind to understand it, or is not ready to take it, it's better to be in silence for some time, till the other person, he or she himself, gathers those points, put those points together, and realizes for themselves that this is what has happened. So it's very, very important to be in silence and be patient for that point of time, even though we know that this person is doing wrong, or we feel very anxious to correct them or to help them or something like that. But it's not gonna work until the other person realizes that what he is doing actually. So that information doesn't relay into the mind properly, even though you try to put it in how many ways that you want to do it. So that is what here Hanumanji is trying to explain, that here Baba, Urva is gonna be the head of the Matang community. He should know everything. But Baba didn't try to correct Urva here. In fact, Baba responded with silence, and that silence was an enlightening silence. So after some time, Urva, he himself had that realization hit him, that he starts asking Baba that, Baba, could that be someone else in his body? That was a question that Urva asks Baba. Then Baba gives Urva an answer that yes, an Asura has harbored your body of your uncle Basant. And these Asuras and Suras are called as cursed souls. Then immediately Urva starts feeling little weird, and even to think of that statement that an Asura could hijack the body of his uncle and make him walk till this venue. So Baba, he gave a small giggle, and he just laughed funnily, and he started doing his own work. Now Urva, because Baba here, he knows that even speaking about Suras or Asuras, or having a discussion about them at that point of time is not the right, method, or it's not the right time to discuss, because they're trying to fill those lamps with oil just to protect that venue from these so-called Suras and Asuras. And what's the point when he keeps on talking about them? So here Baba says that even to think about them, or even to talk about them, is more like you're inviting them into your home or your place or into you. So Baba has very clear understanding about it, because he has experienced it and he knows how they work. But Urva has a textbook knowledge of it. Now he's experiencing them in reality, he's actually watching them do the work, and he's really shocked to see how they work. So for Urva, it's an interesting topic, and he wants to know more about it. So his monkey mind was like jumping all over the place, and it starts asking questions to Baba that what are the Suras and Asuras, and how can they hijack the body, and all those things. Then Baba says to Urva that if you really want to know how these Suras and Asuras work, wait for the Charan ceremony to begin tomorrow. You'll understand how they'll work. And Lord Hanuman will tell you about them first thing in the morning. Hanuman himself will tell you how these things will work. And Urva says that I have always wanted to know about them, Baba, that if there are cursed souls like these Asuras and Suras, and if they can use my body when my soul is away, that is when my body is asleep, your soul goes through an astral travel. And if the cursed soul comes and occupies my body and takes it for a a bang, then how should I be aware of it? How should I know that they're operating through me? I have to have a complete knowledge about them, so on how they work and how they operate. So Urva starts questioning, still asking questions to Baba. And here Baba, for an instant, he thought in his mind that to tell to Urva that the Suras and Asuras, these cursed souls, they carry out their deeds even when the body is wide awake, right in the presence of the resident soul. That is, even while you're talking, while you're wide awake, these Suras and Asuras can influence your body and mind. So that is the truth. Initially, Urva was thinking that when my body is asleep and my soul is away from my physical body, that is the time where the Suras and Asuras will take hold of my body and do the deeds. But here Baba is trying to say, was wishing to tell to Urva that no, they can operate while you're wide awake also, while you're talking to someone, while you're doing your things. Then also these Asuras and Suras will work by influencing your body and mind. Now, since Baba didn't want to continue the conversation more and he wants to deviate this monkey mind of Urva, and Baba asks Urva to go and light a lamp along the periphery of the that whole venue. So there are about 4 to 5 lamps at each junction on the periphery. So Baba asks Urva to go and fill the lamps with the oil. So now Baba successfully tried to deviate the Urva's curiosity from Suras and Asuras to the new subject, that is, what is the secret ingredient that is this oil made up of? So what is the secret of this mysterious oil? What is it made up of? So now Urva started to think on it. Now all this Matang tribe knew one thing, that there is a secret ingredient that this oil is made up of. And when this oil is poured into a diya and they try to lit the diya, the Suras and Asuras, the so-called cursed souls, they will vanish from that place. They can no more approach that place. This is the thing that has been given to or told to all the Matang tribes. So it's a tradition and everyone knows it. Everyone believes in it. Everyone has faith in it. So, but they don't know what that oil is made up of. Now, Urva goes to the periphery and he starts filling the lamps. And suddenly Urva realizes that his uncle Basant is again coming. Now Urva didn't know what to know, but this time his uncle Basant is really approaching the venue very fast. Now Urva shouts and asks Baba that uncle is again coming, what should I do? Then Baba says that just light the lamp. That's it. Baba was not agitated, or he didn't shout, nothing. He just told that just light the lamp, and he was watching Urva. Now Urva immediately follows the command, and he's without any delay, he lighted the lamp, and a mysterious dark red light came out of the lamp. It was glowing very beautifully. And Urva thought that it will show the magic immediately, but nothing happened. In fact, his uncle Basant was approaching the venue even more faster. So Urva looks at Baba and says that, Baba, this is ineffective. Nothing has happened. My uncle is coming very fastly towards the venue. Then after telling that, he's looked around and he saw that there is some kind of a what do you say, a very subtler form of a red bird-like thing that has been flying around the periphery of the circle. So then he understood that that is a cursed soul or a asura, and that mysterious light from the lamp actually revealed that cursed soul around the periphery of the circle or the venue. So after some time, even though Urva has been shouting that nothing is happening, Basant uncle is still coming, Baba was so assured that the power of this mysterious light will do its work when the right time approaches. Baba was very calm and very posed, and he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was filling the lamps with oil. But here Urva was like completely lost. He was agitated and he didn't know what to do. The uncle is running towards the venue. Now he knows about the cursed souls. In fact, he has just seen one of the asura, the cursed soul, like a he could feel that it was moving around the venue, and Urva was in a completely different state. Now, after some time, when Basant, that is uncle of Urva, when he reached the periphery of the venue, when the rays of the diya, the light of the diya, when it reached Basant's eye, immediately his soul returned to his body, and the asura that was harboring, or the cursed soul that was harboring his body, it flew out. So Urva saw that Basant, immediately he fell down, and he just dropped down onto the floor, and a red bird-like figure, it just flew towards the lamp and it just disappeared. So immediately he rushed towards his uncle, and his uncle woke up from a deep sleep as if he didn't know what was happening. And he asked, like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Then Urva said that nothing, uncle, everything is fine. Now just go back and sleep. We'll meet tomorrow for the Charan ceremony. Now, a conversation starts. Now, after watching all these things, Urva and Baba, they finish the rest of the ritual. They fill all the lamps with the oil. And now Urva asks Baba that how does this mysterious light forces asuras out of the body? Baba, how does how does it work? How is it making the cursed souls not approach the body or not approach the venue, and how is it preventing them from what do you say, attacking the body or something like that? Then Baba beautifully says that it's not the light, but it's the awareness that drives away the suras and asuras. That is, the moment you suspect that you are having a presence of a cursed soul in your body, they immediately leave you. They tend to abandon you. So in the case of Basant, the mysterious light triggered that awareness in him, and this awareness made the cursed souls, which was staying in his body, move out of his body. So these cursed souls will only stay in your body only while your soul remains ignorant of their presence. So here the entire Matang community know that these diyas that are burned by the special oil will move, will keep the asuras and asuras out of the vicinity. So that is there, or it's an inbuilt belief in this whole Matang tribe. So just when the Basant came and saw the light, that subconscious mind, when it became aware that this is that light and it's glowing out of that secret oil, that awareness itself has driven that cursed soul out of the Basant, and Basant came back to his senses. So these cursed souls, they stay in your body or in your mind, or they operate through your body and mind only while your souls remain ignorant of their presence. That's the important takeaway that Hanumanji says to, that Baba says to Urva. Now here, Urva also need to understand that Baba has actually revealed the secret of the Matang community. That is, there is no secret or no secret ingredient in the oil. The oil is just like the plain oil. So here, the power is in the brightness, or is in the knowledge that that unique light emitted by the oil, when the Matang sees that oil, their belief system that it will keep the cursed souls away from their vicinity is actually alerting their mind immediately that you need to watch out for these kind of souls. So this alert that is when it generates an awareness in the soul, and this awareness is what that forces them or these cursed souls to move away from them. So Baba gives a parable here to Urva to make it more understandable. That, see, suppose there is a village, and the village has appointed a watchman. Now this watchman keeps on roaming around the village in the night to take care of the entire village in the night, away from the thieves or away from all these kind of things. So when this watchman, when he whistles, what happens? That is an indication to the entire village that some thieves are there and they need to take care of it. So the whistle itself will make the villagers who are deep in the sleep to wake up from the deep sleep, and it triggers and creates an alert in their minds that watch out, there are thieves out. So just like that, this light, or the idea around this light, is creating an awareness in the entire Matang tribe that you need to be aware of these cursed souls. So bring that awareness into yourself. That's it. There is no secret ingredient in this oil. That's the only thing. And that is the biggest secret that I am revealing to you now. That's what Baba said to Urva. So now Urva said that it's so creepy, Baba, that an outsider soul can get hold of my body and do whatever it wants to do with it. And all this time, Urva was aware of this concept of cursed souls, but seeing them in action and seeing them try to sabotage the entire Charan ceremony, or in fact attacking the body of his own uncle, Basant, really freaked him out. So for that, Baba gives a beautiful explanation that, when Urva says this word, that it's very creepy that some outsider soul is trying to get hold of my body, then Baba says that your soul is as much as an outsider as that cursed soul is to your body. Now, when a soul, it starts thinking that it owns the body, then it is in a state of ignorance. And that ignorance is creating an invitation to these cursed souls. That's what Baba says, that the body your soul calls its own would continue to exist even if the soul left it. Now, some other soul might take over it and go through the experience using your body and mind. So it is not even confirmed that your soul has entered your present body right at the time of birth. And nor is it assured that you will remain in the same body to go through the experience of death in the same body. You might come out of that body and go take another body in some other parallel reality and go through an experience. So you're not sure of it. It's not evident, it's not confirmed that the same soul goes through the entire experience in that single body. So this is what Hanumanji explained in the 3rd chapter, where the timeline jump happens. Now, this is a very, very intense statement in itself, that the soul can come and go out of the body. But that's what Baba says to Urva, that don't feel that you also own the body. Here you need to understand that how do you want to be aware of not being influenced by those cursed souls. That is the important thing. Don't try to again relate that I own this body, I own this mind. No, you are just a person who is renting this cloth of a body to go through an experience. That's it. So now, after saying that and after discussing around it, Urva goes back. They fill the oil on the in all the lamps, and they just go back and they go to sleep. Now, Urva has got so many thoughts running in his mind about the suras, asuras, and everything. And accordingly, he'll have very confusing and scary scenes in his dreams because his mind is agitated. So he's somewhere in his lower astral form going through that experience in his dreams. Now, immediately, just 2 hours before the sunrise, that is during the time of dawn, the Charan ceremonies has started. Now, all the elder Matangs who have worked as the leaders of the Matang communities, all those elders, they have who actually had opportunity to get that supreme knowledge from the immortal Guru Hanumanji, first entered the venue, and they started to chant some slokas or hymns, which is a part of their Matang tradition. And it is also telling, or it's also speaking in a way that there is a transfer of responsibility that is happening from one generation to another other generation. So Urva and Urmi, the future leaders of the tribe, were also invited into the venue, and they were asked to light all the 164 lamps on the periphery of the venue under the guidance of the elders. And before they started to light the lamp, they were informed that these creepy bodiless beings or the cursed souls will be all around this time in the venue, so just be aware of them. Now, once they have lit the lamps, they are brought into the center of the venue, and now the elders of the Matang tribe starts asking both Urva and Urvi some questions before the transfer of the power happens. Now, what are the questions? The first question is, are you aware that you are not a body? You have a body, but you are not a body. Are you aware of this statement, or do you understand what we are saying? Then both Urmi and Urva says that, yes, we are aware. Yes, we are aware. Now, the second question they ask is, are you aware that you are not a mind? You have a mind, but you are not a mind. Then both the Urmi and Urva says that, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Now, the third question is, are you aware that your existence in this physical plane has many levels? That is, you are existing in this plane with respect to body, with respect to mind, with respect to your intellect and your samskara, and you are none of those. Then are you also aware that you are a soul, but you're not a body, you're not a mind, you're not intellect, neither you are your samskaras? Are you aware of it? Then both Urvi and Urmi and Urva says that yes, we are, yes, we are. Now the fourth question that they ask is, are you aware of the cursed souls that are suras and asuras? They are categorized into two categories, that is suras and asuras. So are you aware of those? Then both Urva and Urmi say that yes, we are, yes, we are. Now the elders start saying that, this is a very big ceremony for the entire Matang tribe. So a lot of positive emotions are overflowing. Now you need to understand that a basic difference between the suras and asuras. Suras are the bodiless beings who relish on the positive flavors of human life and these suras have gathered here in large number. Now at a given opportunity, they will try to sneak into the bodies present here to taste that energy that is created out of these positive emotions, because they relish or they live on those energies. So we have to be aware of them. Are you? So for that, both of them say yes. Now the last thing that they say, that wherever there are positive emotions, the negative emotions naturally come up. So the asuras are the bodiless beings who relish on the negative flavors of human life. And they have gathered here right this moment in a large number to execute their plan. So they will try to creep into the bodies that are present here and create negativities, and they will relish on those energies that are created out of those negative emotions. So we must stay aware of them. So are you aware of them? So for that, both Urmi and Urva says that yes, we are aware of them. So now they proceed to start lighting the 164 lamps on the periphery. Now, while they were lighting the lamps, there is a beautiful description that is given here in the book, where they say that when they're lighting all the lamps, it's still dawn. It's not like sun has risen and it's not bright, but it's still dark. So when all the 164 lamps are burning, they could see a dark red wall around the avenue. So it's more like illusion of dark red wall that is seen around the avenue. So these dark red wall are actually clusters of these asuras that are just roaming or swarming around those avenue because of the gathering that has happened and the possible emotions that can come out of the human gathering, which they are ready to relish on. Now, at the center of this venue, all the elder matangs, they start to put a havan or something, and they were putting all the sacred fluid items into it, and a white color fragrance was coming out of it, and it was more like a smoke, and they could see that the smoke has risen up for some maybe a couple of feet away from the ground, and they could see that it has formed a structure or a dome like a structure, and those are like the suras or the cursed souls that relish on the positive feelings of the human emotions. So they could see that both suras and asuras are just like waiting there to relish on the emotions of the humans that they're gonna after the ceremony. So now the elder matangs along with Urva and Urmi, they just folded their hands, they bowed down, and they were praying to the arrival of Lord Hanuman. Now Hanuman has finally arrived, the immortal Guru has finally arrived, and all the Matang tribes are now expressing with a lot of positive emotions. They're feeling very good and everything. Now Hanumanji says to everyone that you just stand up, open your eyes, and please sit down, everyone. Now once Lord Hanuman has taken his seat on the altar or the place that was provided for Hanumanji there, Baba starts the Charan ceremony has now been initiated. Now Urva was before the Charan ceremony has been initiated, Urva starts asking questions to immortal Guru Hanumanji. that Deva, I'm not sure. He beautifully puts the sentence here that Deva, I'm not sure if it's my soul speaking or some alien soul. I'm not even aware of it. But I'm with a very confused expression on his face. He tells that, please tell us in detail about the ways and means employed by these alien souls to possess our bodies. I'm curious in particularly about this cursed souls. So please give me the knowledge on how these souls work and what we need to know about them. And after telling this, Urva sat down, and now Hanumanji starts giving them the what do you say, the knowledge or the wisdom with respect to this cursed souls. Now Hanumanji starts with a beautiful parable here, saying that just yesterday I observed an incident that has happened yesterday night in one of my devotees' house. His name is Rajkumar. Now this person, Rajkumar, he was having dinner. Suddenly his soul got replaced by an alien soul, and his wife was looking at him right there. In fact, she was talking to him, but right across the table. But she didn't notice any change in him until he asked for some pickle. Now his wife was taken to surprise. He said that, you hate pickle. Why are you asking about pickle now? Now Rajkumar says to his wife that, so what, dear, I just feel like eating it today. Do we have it in our house or not? Now the wife goes into the kitchen and she brings back the pickle. Now by the time she's returned, Rajkumar's soul has returned. The original soul that was there in the body of Rajkumar, it has returned to the body, and this alien or this cursed soul has ejected out of the body. Now Rajkumar's wife, when she brings the pickle and gives to Rajkumar, that here is the pickle, you want to eat, just eat it. Now Rajkumar, for a brief second, now the soul has come into the body. Now his own body and mind, there is a union that is happening for that couple of seconds. Now the soul consulted with the body and mind for a brief moment that whether I have really asked for a pickle. Since the body and mind has the memory of asking the pickle, Rajkumar also thought that, yes, I might have asked for the pickle because it looks like I have asked it. Now the soul did not even suspect that anything strange has happened with itself. Now Rajkumar happily, he started eating the pickle, thinking that it was his own desire. But actually it was a desire that was planted by an alien soul. Now because that alien soul want to relish or have the pleasure of eating the pickle, it took an opportunity and it infested the body and mind or the thought process of that person, Rajkumar, so that he could eat the pickle, and that pleasure that was coming out of eating that pickle, the energy was being relished by this particular soul. So here Hanumanji says that usually these cursed souls, they fully adapt to the character, that is the body and the mind that they approach upon. So in that case, the original soul or the native souls who are originally there in the body, they have no reason to suspect anything, even though if the alien souls brought their minor characteristics into the body. So here in this case, Rajkumar's soul, it actually thought that it was its desire to eat the pickle, but it was not its desire to eat, but it was some alien soul that wanted to relish that pleasure for eating the pickle. But here Hanumanji says that such exchanges of souls are normal. In fact, I also facilitate such exchange to my devotees to save them from trouble. See, just like yesterday, Urmi's soul was exchanged with the soul of an old man called Ram Narayan. But except for some wise elders like Baba, no one could notice that Urvi's soul was not the original original soul that was in the body of the Urvi. Only Baba could identify that this was not the right or the original soul that was there in the body of Urvi. So such exchanges are therefore not harmful. You don't need to fear or some disaster is not going to happen out of it. It's not harmful. They're rather beneficial for both the native souls and also these alien souls. If such exchanges are only facilitated or only done under the presence of some enlightened masters or gurus or gods, whatever name you give to them, and if it's under the universal laws, then only it's carried upon or it gives a meaning for that exchange. Now, the problem arises when the alien souls try to impose their characteristics on the body and they take complete control of the body. Now, the cursed souls, the Suras and Asuras, are the most notorious of them, and they do only that thing. They try to take the control of the body. So here Hanumanji tries to say to Urva and the rest of the Matang tribe that an ordinary soul, in fact, an ordinary ignorant soul, stay attached to the body so much that they start feeling that this body is mine. I am this body. Whatever is happening with respect to body, it's happening to me. So that is the level of attachment that they have with their physical body. And they experience the positives and negatives of their life through this body only. And the eternal truth is that the person who is born has to die one day or the other. So only when the body becomes useless, they try to switch to a new one. They get a new birth, and again they get carried on if they're not aware of the eternal truth that they are soul, they are not the body, they are not the mind. They'll go on that process for some time till they become aware of it. Now here, the cursed souls, on the other hand, they follow a different course. The Suras, they crave only the positives of life. And the Asuras crave only the negatives, the energy, negative energy, or the energy that comes from the negative emotions. They crave on that. So they keep on wandering from one body to another to enjoy their preferences. They don't stay with a single body for a long time. There are so many people, billions of people have so many emotions. Everyone is like flooding with emotions. So they have got plenty of food to eat. So they keep on wandering here and there. So this is how these cursed souls operate. Now, Hanumanji says that fear, anger, sadness, disgust, shock, worry, and apathy are some of the major negative flavors in the human life. These are the emotions that create energy in the negative level. So imagine there is an Asura. It finds a person who is fearful. Now it will enter his body. And now it will savor the energy that is coming from this emotion called fear. Nicely, it will enjoy. Now it will try to keep him fearful as long as possible. But when the fear is no longer there, it will immediately abandon the body and just go away from there. Then again, it will search for some other target. Suppose it finds a sad person. It will enter her body. It will savor the energy that is coming from that emotion called sadness. And if there is a possibility, it will try to prolong that sadness by implanting negative thoughts so that she feels more sad. So it will savor on this energy how much ever time the person is trying to be in that state of sadness. Now, when she is no longer sad, it will immediately vacate her body. It will proceed to find new targets. New targets who are fearful, who are angry, who are sad, disgust, shocked, worried, whatever these emotions. There are plenty of such energies around. So it will go and nicely relish those energies by clinging on to some other person. Now, joy, trust, hope, amazement, and sympathy are some of the major positive flavors in human life. Suras, they keep lookout for such kind of people who are going through such positive emotions. Now, these cursed souls will enter their body and mind to savor, and in fact, they'll prolong what they crave most. That is the positive flavors of human life. So, people whose body and minds have once been infested or once been procured by these cursed souls, these souls will become accustomed to them, because these cursed souls will identify these people as their potential targets, and they'll try to linger around them for any possible opportunities. So that's how this cursed soul work, and that's how they'll survive in every day in this particular three-dimensional reality. So now Hanumanji says that now after reading through this, we might get, that emotion called fear might linger, like what is happening. So now the question arises with everyone, with anyone else. So does that mean that we can't have any emotions? You are saying even positive emotions are attracting them, even negative emotions are attracting them. So what? How do we protect ourselves from them, or how do we be aware of them? So here Hanumanji says that It is completely human and it's very natural for a human being to be sad. There is no harm in it. In fact, you enjoy that sadness. You enjoy that emotion. Let that emotion be, what do you say, felt by you. But if an asura enters your body to savor that sadness, let it savor, no problem. The harm is when the asura tries to make you perennially sad, like sad forever. It plants negative thoughts in your mind so that you start seeing problem in everything that you see. Wherever there is no problem anywhere, but the type of thoughts that are put into your mind that will make you to start seeing or to start perceiving your reality around in a very negative state. So it plants negative thoughts in your mind so that you start seeing problems where there are no problems actually. Now that is the problem. That is the thing we need to be aware of. That's what Hanumanji says. Hanumanji also says that it's completely human to trust somebody. And there is no harm if a sura enters your body to savor the feeling of trust. The harm is when the sura tries to convert your trust into blind trust. It plants positive thoughts in your mind so that you start trusting even your enemies. You know that you are going to be deceived by this person. You know that you can't go. It's very clean, like in black and white, it's written there that you will be cheated, but you blindly go there and you get cheated. That is something that you need to be aware of. It is completely human to be angry. There is no harm. If a asura relishes anger through your body, there is no harm in it. The harm is when it gets hold of you and plants thoughts in your mind and uses anger as an ingredient to create more negative things that will keep you anger for more time, for days and days to come together. So not for days, like people stay in this emotion for anger like for years. Everything will trigger them and they'll be angry for everything and anything. So that is the problem that you need to understand. It is completely human to eat delicious sweets. Relish the pleasure that comes from eating these delicious sweets. There is no harm if a sura enters your body and savor that energy that is coming while you are enjoying that pleasure of eating those sweets. There is no harm in it. But the harm is when that sura tries to convert this one-time pleasure into an addiction. Be aware of it. So that is what Hanumanji is telling here. It is completely human to believe in something staunchly. Your belief system, good for you, believe in it. But the harm is when asuras get hold of your mind and make you blind and disrespectful of others' beliefs. And it will start creating hatred. And now it will start relishing on that emotion of hatred that it has put into your mind or in your thought process. So have your own belief system, that's completely fine, but don't try to judge other people's belief system or don't try to show finger towards them or don't be disrespectful for the other people's belief system. So these are, now Hanumanji says that how do you protect yourself from these kind of things? The only 3 things that Hanumanji says here is that just be aware. Always be aware of your emotions. Why are they coming? Where are they coming from? Just be aware of them. Be in the moment, be aware. The second one is refuse everything. People might tell you 100 things, but use your intellect. Start thinking by using your intellect. Connect to your higher self. Use your intellectual ability that was given to you rather than depending on everyone, be it your son, be it your husband, be it your wife, be it your parents, no one. You have been given intellect, use yours. The third one is always pray. Connect with your higher self. Meditate. The only thing I think this entire book has taught me is that the more connected are you with your higher self, everything is like set right. No, things might come and go. You might have your ups and downs, but you are protected. There is nothing wrong. There is no deviation from the path. You might have a jump here and there, but that's fine. So these are the 3 things Hanumanji says to Urva, that pray, connect to yourself, ask for help, do the forgiveness, do the gratitude, be aware of the situation and refuse any kind of information that is given to you. Always first use your intellect, try to assess the information and then see what you can do. So now Hanumanji tries to explain about these cursed souls and how they operate. So he says that there is a first category of cursed souls. Now he names them as sneaky thieves. Now these sneaky thieves, these are the cursed souls who will immediately leave the vicinity of body and mind when the person wakes up or the knowledge is instilled in that person. The knowledge I am giving you about their nature will sound an alarm when they sneak into your body and mind. So if sadness lingers in you, for instance, you are feeling very sad. So if the sadness is lingering in you, for instance, if you will figure out that, yes, some asura has barged in me, this realization itself is enough to shake them out of your body and mind. So these kind of sneaky thieves, just by being aware that, I'm under the influence of sura or asura, some kind of cursed soul, immediately will set right your mood and everything. And Hanumanji says here that you also need to be aware of the cursed souls that might seize control of not your body mind, but also the people that you interact with. Not your body and mind, but also you have to be aware of the people that you interact with. For example, if your friend constantly complains about something, be aware that he or she may be under the control of asuras. This awareness itself is enough to keep you protected, keep you insulated from that attack or from that energy that is coming from them. But the lack of this information or this thing will result in those asuras seizing control of you as well. You will also be a victim of those asuras. So if your friend is addicted to something, be aware that the suras are possibly controlling him or her. So this awareness itself is enough to keep you protected from that person, the trend, and also the addiction also. So to get rid of the cursed souls of this kind of thief type or this type of cursed souls, just being aware of it is more than enough. They'll just vanish away from you. They'll just move away from you. Now, there are other type of suras and asuras. These are more like a con men. Now, what they will do is that they'll fool you into giving control to them. So how do they do that? Suppose, for example, you hate dogs and continual hatred against anything, you need to understand that it is a sign or the presence of asura in your body and mind. If there is a hatred, perennial hatred of towards one person, towards a thing, towards an object, towards a belief system, if that hatred is continuing for so many years, for like days and days, then the first thing that you need to be aware that you are under the control of a asura. So continual hatred against anything is a sign of the presence of asuras in your body and mind. They have colored your world with their brush so that you come across incidents that will justify your hatred. You hear news such as here, where the person is hating the dog, that person will only hear the news of dogs attacking humans, or he'll see the people, or he'll come across victims of dog bites dying of horrible death. And all such kind of things will come into his vicinity, where he'll keep on seeing that kind of things only. And eventually what happens, that hatred may increase to a point that that person will make a mission to kill and harm dogs. To that level, the hatred will go. So here, Hanumanji beautifully says that the external world that you are perceiving is limitless. There is no limit. There is no boundary to this external world that you are seeing. You see only a limited version of it. And if you give control of your mind to the asuras, they will show you what serves them best. They will show you everything that might bring the negative flavors in your life that they crave for, not you. So they will fool you into believing that what they show you is the complete world. So here, that hatred, that perennial hatred towards dogs or towards person or towards anything, what the hatred will be followed by? The hatred will be followed by anger, fear, disgust, worry, shock, apathy, and so on. So more and more asuras will come and they'll harbor around you. They'll cling onto your aura and they'll infest your body and mind. and it will reach to a point that your soul will be pushed aside into the dark corner of ignorance, and you will be in that perennial hatred, and you are just like that. Your entire life is lost like that. So to get rid of them, you first need to refuse. Actually, you need to refuse to believe in your worldview. How are you seeing things? You need to refuse the things that you see also. You must refuse to believe that what you see is the only reality. That is not the only reality. There are many realities. Because we are in a multi-dimensional world, there is no single point view to reality. There are multiple ways that you can see the same thing. So even if everything you perceive and everyone you know, it might be your near or dear ones, validate your worldview. You know, sometimes you have an issue with your friend or something, you call your other friend that so and so has happened. Now that friend will start supporting, yeah, I know that this is how she behaves, or this is how it is. She has done so and so things, and this is how it is. Now, if they start validating your worldview, what if your friend says that exactly you have done the right thing, she looks at the things like that only. Your view towards looking at things is the right way. If such kind of validation of your worldview is made positive, first you need to be just aware, like this eternal hatred itself is showing me that I am under the influence of asura. This is a negative quality. And how can someone validate on that quality or whatever it is? So immediately just refuse it. It is like saying no, this is wrong. Just simply by saying no, couple of times will irritate this cursed souls, and they'll just move away from your vicinity, and immediately the next moment you start perceiving your reality in a different way. So you need to be aware, you need to refuse any kind of qualities that are coming with respect to suras and asuras, and don't fall into their trap, as Jagrati ma'am has said. Yeah. Suppose you love dogs. Now you have immense love towards the dogs. Now you shower your compassion and your kindness on them. Now some suras have of course sneaked into your body and mind to relish these positive flavors. They may even seize control of you and start putting or manufacturing more and more thoughts and more reasons for you to be compassionate and kind towards the dogs. Now, what is wrong here? You might ask. That's what Hanuman is saying, that what is wrong in being compassionate or being kind to some person, or here that person is being compassionate or being kind towards the dog. What is wrong in that? Even the enlightened ones also live a life full of compassion. So what is wrong in that? The problem is, if you have lost control of your body and mind to suras, you have rendered yourself a pathway where the asuras might also enter into your body and mind. Here, no doubt, suras will bring positive emotions into your life, but asuras are more in number. Because the souls who feed on negative emotions, they are actually more in number. That's what they talk about devatas and rakshasas, right? The rakshasas are more in number, and and the gods or so-called devas are very few in number. So here, asuras who are more in number than suras in this world will immediately bring the negative flavors into your life. So the suras, who are the original intruders into your body and mind, they have a coalition government with the asuras. They have a common agenda here. So these asuras, by way of planting thoughts, will create problems in your life, thereby slipping you again into this emotion of sadness, anger, fear, and other negatives. And it will go to an extent that you may start misunderstanding with your own family members, with your own friends, and also the society at large. And this will help suras further their agenda and make you believe here, in this case, that only dogs are your true companions. Your compassion and kindness have got out of control, that now you start believing that the dogs are only your true companions. Your family, your friends, and your society are good for nothing. You develop hatred towards them. And on one hand, you will be compassionate towards dogs. And the other hand, you will be angry, you will be sad, you will be fearful, you will be disgusted and worried towards other creatures, including your own family members and fellow human beings also. So That's the thing that one needs to be aware of. Now, the solution again here is to refuse to believe what you are made to be believed by these cursed souls. So always be very cautious of your thought process also. The moment that you understand that you are relishing on these emotions more, there is no stability or no middle ground here, then immediately these suras and asuras will flee and they'll leave you, and you'll just get back to your normal life. So that is the second category. The third category of suras and asuras here Hanumanji is talking about is these are goon type. They are rowdy type. That's what Hanumanji is telling. They will openly exercise their powers on your body and mind. They won't use backdoor method here. They will very openly exercise their powers on your body and mind. So here, for example, take the example of your uncle Basant himself. I'll give you 3 scenarios. First scenario was he was once climbing a tree and the branch was very tricky. And it became trickier that when he saw the nest that was there on one end of the branch, he tried to carefully creep forward to prevent stamping on the nest or hitting the nest. But what happened here is that his feet fell onto the nest and he broke the eggs that were laid there. And when he got down from the tree, his heart was filled with regret and there was so much pain for the next couple of days. How he could do that, all those things. This is one of the example. You can relate this emotion with your day-to-day life. How many times you feel guilt or you feel pain when some event, something like happens where you didn't want to do, but something has happened like that. Now here, same happened with Basant. He didn't want to do, but accidentally it went, and his heart was filled with regret and pain for the next couple of days. And as usual, the asuras have arrived and they started to relish his emotion. Now, how did his leg stretch to the nest, despite he was trying to not to hit the nest, but somehow his leg has stretched to that point and he kicked that nest. How did that happen? Because of an asura that saw an opportunity there and it seized the control of his body and mind to commit that particular deed. Now, once the cursed soul has accomplished one deed, they get sticked to that person's body and mind to try to commit an even bigger deed because it wants to relish on that emotions. So it will use that person's body and mind if it's very fragile. It will use that body and mind to its best so that it can relish more of this negative thoughts. That is what has happened here with Basant. So the asura tried to manage to commit one more evil deed, and few days later, it took control of Basant's body, not only his body but also his mind. Now, what happened here is that Basant went for collecting honey in the forest, and he saw a nest nearby the beehive that was creating a hindrance. Now, this time, mindfully, being completely aware only, he kicked down the nest. Now, he didn't realize that there were eggs inside it. Now, again, he regretted it and he blamed himself, although it was an asura who had done it by capturing his body and mind. Now, long after, the same asura, it still had complete control on Basant's body and mind. Now, not only his body and mind, this time the asura took the control of the intellect of the Basant also, his ideology also. Now, what happened? Baba asked Basant to go and bring a feather of a blue sparrow. When he failed to find a fallen feather of a blue sparrow, he decided to kill a sparrow. Now, a matang killing a bird to obtain a feather is the biggest crime. I mean, they can't even imagine killing small insects only. This Basant went and killed a bird to bring a blue feather. Now here, the Basant, he didn't even regret, because his ideology has been now infected by these cursed soul, this asura. And his ability to differentiate what is good, what is bad, his intellect is completely lost. Now it is under the complete control of asura. In fact, he went on to argue with Baba on the subject that the bird has to die one day or the other. So what's the use? I have just killed it. It will die in the next couple of months. So what's the wrong in it? So that level of argument he started to do with Baba. Now the asura immediately nicely all the different cursed Asura souls came there, and it started to savor every drop of that conversation or the troubled emotion that was happening between the two Matangs that day, between Baba and Basant, where Basant is trying to prove that what he has done is right by killing a bird. And his entire ideology, his intellect, his body, his mind is under complete control of the Asuras. Now Hanumanji here says that being aware, refusing the validations that are coming to you, being aware of your emotions, your thought process, and the third one is prayer. Here Hanumanji says that prayer has the power to free you from all these three types of cursed souls. You should pray at the beginning of the time, that is first thing in the morning, in every week, every fortnight, every month, every year. You have to connect yourself. Prayer is not like begging someone to help you, but connecting with your higher self. You have to perform a daily prayer. Be connected with your higher self. Be aware that you are a soul. You are not this body. You are not this mind. Don't get carried away by the emotions that are coming to you. Be also aware that you are always under these Suras and Asuras are so many in number. This present human population won't match to their numbers. So they are like 10 or 50 times more than this present human population on the world. That's what Hanumanji says here. So they are just lingering around you. So don't be afraid of it, because they don't have a body. They just relish on your emotion. So in fact, they're teaching you like how you have to be aware of yourself. And this is the biggest truth that is told to the Matang tribe by Hanumanji, that this is how the actual reality works. You are not seeing the world in the way that you are. There are so many things that are surrounding you, and even your thoughts, your emotions, everything is not under your control if you're not aware of it. So be aware of it. And he says that how one should perform a daily prayer. Now Hanumanji says that at the end of the day, get something to offer to your deity, whoever the deity is. It might be no deity also, your higher self, whoever it is. It can be leaves, it can be flowers, it can be fruits, or anything that you can pick it up. There is no price or cost or anything. It might be just a couple of stones also, anything. Whatever you pick it up with lot of faith, love and faith. Now the next day in the morning, sit quietly before your deity. Make your offerings one by one. With each item you offer, the incidents you went through during the previous day will flash in your mind. Surrender them all to your deity. If something made you sad during the previous day, just surrender it to your deity. Put a stone, put a leaf there. Ask your deity that I'm surrendering this event and this emotion to you, my deity. Now, if something gave you joy during the previous day, just surrender it to your deity. Whether life gave you a positive flavor or a negative one, just surrender it to your deity. When you keep neither negatives nor positives with you, the Asuras or Suras are left with no motivation to capture your body and mind. The prayer will purify your soul, and you will be able to experience the new day without any interference of the cursed souls. You can do prayers similarly at the beginning of new week, any event that you're starting or anything. Just always start your day with a prayer or with a surrenderance to your higher self or to your deity, that I am experiencing it. I am not owning these things. I'm surrendering everything to you. So that is one way that you can keep all these things at bay. Yes, do your karma, but don't get carried away by the fruits of your actions. That's what, yeah. So it also is talking about the concept of being in the moment. So all of these things are put in a grinder and mixed together and told in a beautiful way that surrender everything to this almighty or to your higher self or to this universal energy that is there out, that is providing you with such kind of events in your life. Just surrender, give it back to it. Don't get carried away or don't get attached to it. Now, here Hanumanji says that an ordinary soul, as you know, it will pass through positives and negatives and lives one life. There is, this is a fact that, we go through the process of reincarnation. This is not our only life, or this is not the one life that we have lived. We'll live through this life, we'll share our relationships with different people, we'll die, we'll take up a new body, new relationships, and we'll keep on moving forward. Now here Hanumanji, this last page is very intense. He says here beautifully that an ordinary soul, as you know, passes through positives and negatives. It lives one life after another, and it keeps rolling in the cycle of birth and death until it gets liberation, the moksha. Now, what if it didn't get moksha, even after living through so many lives? Does this soul get trapped in the human world for infinity? What if the soul didn't get moksha, even after living through ages? Does it get trapped in the human world for infinity? Or to put it another way, does your soul have infinite time here in the human world to attain moksha or liberation? This was the question that was put to Hanumanji. Does your soul has infinite time here in the human world to attain moksha? Hanumanji said no. Not only your body, but also your soul's time here is limited. Let me explain to you. This world is like a road, and mortal bodies, that is our physical bodies, are like chariots running on it. Your soul came here to enjoy a ride, but it ended up getting stuck here, and this seems like a never-ending road. It keeps on rotating under the birth and death, the karma, the desire, birth, death, karma, desire, it keeps on going on. Now the road indeed is never ending, but you don't have the past to stay on this road forever. If the mortal body is broken, definitely you will go through a reincarnation process, you'll take up a new body. That's what is told. Seth has, the Ascended Master Seth told that it took him 1,000 lifetimes to get liberated. Buddha took 800 lifetimes, Jesus took 850 lifetimes, so on and so forth. Different Ascended Masters have gone through different number of lives based on their own journey. But if this mortal body is broke, you could immediately hop onto another one and go through the life cycle. But this can't go on for infinity. You have to understand that more and more souls are descending on this road to enjoy the ride. The universe is ever expanding. The number of souls are increasing. The the higher self is putting more souls to go through more experiences. You can't be here forever. This is not an infinite ride. You don't have all the time in your soul's journey to go through the process of moksha. So the more and more souls are descending on this road to enjoy the ride. There comes a time where the road becomes so congested that it gets annihilated. There's a destruction. Along with the chariots, everything gets destructed. That's what we've talked about yugas, right? Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga. And they say that, there are 14 mantras, there are kalpas. So there are, in our Vedas, they talk about these things, right? Manvantras, the 14 manvantras, and each destruction happens every kalpa, that is every 4.3 some billion years. So every time, the pralay that happens, and every time new world is created. This is told in our Vedas in different, Bible, it was called as the great Ark of Noah or something. So the destruction is being described in all the religions in one way or the other. It has been talked very openly. So here Hanumanji says that you don't have all the time here. The road is getting congested. The more and more souls are coming. And it becomes so congested that the annihilation happens, the destruction happens along with the chariots and everything. That is your body and everything. Now the stuck souls, the souls here who are stuck. There are souls that get stuck on the right side, that is on the positive side of the road. They get pushed towards the right side, they become suras. And the souls that are pushed towards the negative side of the, this road or this life, who live on the negative emotions, they become asuras. Now again, the world is created, the road emerges again fresh and new, but these old passes are not valid on it. The suras and asuras therefore become illegal riders. They stealthily or forcefully, now how they live, they have to survive here. So how do they do it? They will forcefully try to occupy the new chariots, and they keep on relishing on their emotions. Since they don't have body to further their experience or attain moksha, they are stuck there forever. Now, speaking of this road chariot analogy, you don't have infinite time here in this world. You must get moksha before the world annihilates. If you don't, you will either become a sura or you'll either become an asura, and you'll wander in this new world that will emerge after the annihilation. So this is something which you need to remember. So the whole purpose of your life or any human existence or any number of lives that you have taken, you might take up any role or any gender or any profession, doesn't matter. The ultimate liberation or the ultimate aim for the soul is to get moksha, and you have very less time, so work on it as immediately as possible. So after this ending, Hanumanji says that don't worry, you are blessed that my words are reaching you. They will show you the way out. So just be connected to yourself and do the process that is being told. And we are done with this book, Immortal Talks. So yeah, thank you so much, masters. So much beautiful lessons that's been told here on how to look in, be aware of ourselves, not to get carried by the emotions, our attachments, work on it. Since Hanumanji has told, you have very less time. You're not here for infinite amount of time. So yeah, masters, any sharing? Hope you took this chapter. Yeah, thank you, Jagriti ma'am. Masters, if anyone have read this book or any kind of sharing, please do it. So we are finally done with this book. Maybe one more class, I'll just take it and revise through the entire topics of the that we have discussed in this book, and we can finish this book. It's a beautiful book. It's a very, very small book, as I don't know, you can see it here, but it took a lot of time for me to read and understand it. But yeah, please do enjoy if you can get the hold of that book. And yeah. Yeah. Oh, hi, Upendra sir.
Namaste, Ravli ma'am. How are you doing? Question I have is that how do you know you're not already a sura or asura?
That's a beautiful question. Yeah, but that's what Hanumanji says, that there is no wrong in going through the emotions, but always be aware that you don't just get carried away with even the positive emotions also. We are very aware that we don't want to swim in the negative emotions, but see, even positive emotions are inviting the suras, and suras have a pact with asuras, so nicely from behind the door they'll enter. So don't get attached with any emotion. Enjoy the emotion, cherish it, but just leave it then and there and just move on. That's what he was telling. But as you said, it's very important that after reading this entire book or through the meditation process, I understood that one needs to be very much connected with their internal self. They should know about themselves more. That's the problem. We try to put our intellect aside and try to take decisions by asking people around, or by depending on people or anything, rather than believing in ourselves. So that's what I understand. You pray, you meditate, you get connected with yourself, be very strong with what you understand or perceive the external reality, and be aware. I think that's what Hanumanji tried to. I think.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think it all goes back to Ramana Maharshi's Who Am
Yes.
I? That's
Yes.
it's all internal introspection.
Introspection. Yeah. Every day, every minute. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Lovely, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
in a given day, we go through so many emotions of happiness and sadness, or whatever the two different emotions that we are talking about, asuras and suras. So that means that the person has been going through this asura at one time and suras at one time, and even at a given point of time, sometimes they both coexist together.
Yeah. That's what Hanumanji says, that, even they have I mean, here in the book, he said that, every positive emotion is followed by a negative emotion. The problem here is that don't be perennially like there for that, I have to be happy. No, I can't be sad. Just see the emotion as it, because that pleasure or that external reality will bring you an emotion. You have to enjoy it. There is no wrong in it. Of course, the Sura and Asura will come and enjoy the pleasure. But immediately be aware that, are you lingering into that emotion forever? Are you thinking about the same emotion back and forth every time? So just be aware of it, and just surrender everything. Just be clear. Don't carry anything in your bag. That's what is told.
That movement has been created by us only. If that is the case, that the thoughts that what we are going to generate within us. So it is not some asura, and asura is going to just come into you, but you are actually creating those thoughts, and you are the person who is creating asura, and you are the person who is creating the suras. Yes.
Yeah, more or like that. But here Hanumanji says that there are three types of categories that exist. You don't even know that these people are influencing your thought process. So unless and until you're not aware of what you are, not completely centered, you are some or the other way under the influence of the suras and asuras. So always be centered. That's what he was telling in this thing. He gave multiple examples, right? That, the person called Rajkumar suddenly was eating, and he felt like eating pickle, but originally his wife gets shocked that how can you eat a pickle? You can't eat a pickle. But that's what you're saying, that a soul will try to understand this reality with respect to the physical body. And there's an intense statement here told by Hanumanji that the same soul is not living in the body. Like, there is no guarantee or surety that the soul has entered you in your body when you are a child, and it is staying in the same body till the time you are dead. Different souls are coming and going. You don't know. That's how the reality is working. That is how the internal quantum or the spiritual world exists. So you need to understand that. Don't get carried away or don't get attached to your body and mind, but rather see things with respect to how you're experiencing it. I think this is very intense in that way. But as you said, yeah, wherever the suras and asuras are there, we need to identify that. The only process that we can do as of now is be aware of your emotions. Don't get carried away, both negative or positive. Just be centered, connect with your higher self more, and don't take everything to the point of view. There are multiple point of views to a situation. So don't take everything just like that blindly. Try to reject information, try to think over it, and then see how you can approach it. I think that's what it's there.
Yeah, thank you. And the whole essence is like be aware, all the time. Be aware of yourself.
Yeah. I think if anyone would have watched that movie Wonder Woman, in that you will realize that, when the fight was going on, especially they show that Hitler's fight was happening and they tried to invent this poisonous gas. There is this one Asura, actually, they'll show him that this person, he is more like a cursed soul. He'll try and go and influence the scientist, gives the formula and everything, and the scientist will create the formula. Because the scientist is so much in hatred, she loses her face or something out of that attack. So it will nicely implant that thought because she was in that emotion of hatred. So the Asura wants more, what do you say, destruction to happen. So it will go and put that thought, the entire formula of that night, whatever that poisonous gas was given, and the scientist creates that gas, and there's so much destruction that happens. So I mean, this is how the world is working. That's what it's told. So yeah, I immediately could relate that it is there. So just be aware of your feelings and emotions. That's what is the essence here. Yeah.
Thank you, Ravana. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Masters, please do bring this book and please do read it, because you might understand it in a very different way. So please do read it and share your understandings. Yeah, Masters, we'll just go. Yeah, any more sharings? Yeah, okay, we'll go for a 5 minutes meditation. Ashok sir, if that's okay.
Yeah, pure, sure.
Yeah. Masters, just relax. Yeah, just remember, it looks creepy, but you don't go into that. Just as Hanumanji said that, just pray, just meditate, just be aware. Don't accept everything blindly. Use your intellect. Just let us work from there. Yeah.